So hi guys, we're here back here for part 5 of our football manager experiment on the reset players on the Legends patch. So, we're in episode 5 now, so we're in 2023. Some of the legends that have been put in are getting into the late 20s now. Some of our guys on the shortlist will be getting into the mid 20s, so hopefully we're going to see some international performances. I think we've had a World Cup since the last episode, so it'll be interesting to see if, like, people like Zoltan, who we knew was getting on quite well at Stoke, has managed to break into that Sweden squad on a regular basis. Because we noticed on the last episode he made one cap. So, we'll be quite interested to see what happens there. So we'll have a little look in the competitions and see what the league standing. League standing is the same as before, so there's not much change there. Of the cups, and we notice Italy have actually won the World Cup. And we'll have a little cycle through our awards like we did last time, so you guys can have a bit of a look. Obviously, see if we can spot any of these guys in there. These wonder kids. So actually getting a regen, getting a younger player of the tournament, because obviously now we're in 2023. There's probably some of these regens are probably challenging some of these reset players and stuff. As we noticed in the last episode, like players like Carmen Benzema haven't quite developed as much as we thought. As they have in real life sort of thing and normally in the game. So it's more like this. This will be a bit more interesting because there are going to be more people now. Obviously, we're in that position. We've seen Benzema, and who's not developmentally and not really got the game time. So we'll get on to that shortly. So we'll have a little pop through the competitions like we normally do and have a little look first. I don't even think I'm going to try pronounce any of these guys' names because they're obviously they're all the legends for the games. And also, obviously, as I said before, these guys are getting into their late 20s, early 30s now, so should be more room for the current superstars to get through. So have a look at the team in the tournament. Obviously, we notice we have got a reset player in here again. We've got Vidic joining the likes of Zlatan in the World Cup player of the tournament. Actually, I think his was in the Euros. Yeah, that's a bit of a look at obviously we Daniel Vidic's last episode. He was at Chelsea. I believe he's still there now, but he's awesome. So we'll get on to the Premier League and see what's going on in there. Has anyone been able to pick United or Liverpool this time? Has Chelsea been able to sneak up there or Arsenal? So moving across here, we'll just have a quick little look at the awards. Obviously, Dennis Bergkamp actually pipping George Best. He's other than the first season where Beckham won it, Best has won it every other year apart from that one, obviously too. Golden Glove, Seaman's great the last 2 years. I don't want to see second or third. Czech still up there as one of the top goalkeepers in the division. As we know, we could probably see here, we probably get a rough idea who's won the league from looking at the manager of the year, really. It's the same as it has been. Top goal scorers, Michael Owens, cracking 31 goals in a season is not bad at all. Oh, see where he's gone there. We don't. And this guy, obviously, I think he might be a legend. He must be with them stats. So that's not quite hit the feats that he has done in earlier seasons in his career. I'm really getting it for 2 years, and then Corey, and then Michael Owen is obviously progressing really nicely. The young players of the year got Steven Gerrard. Oh, Michael Essien has actually moved to the Premier League, as we'll notice on the shortlist a bit later in the episode. He's at Villa, very good signing for my favourite team, Villa. And we'll have a quick little look at the last 2 years of the team of the year. So again, it's just all legends basically, as we can imagine. Yeah, it's just all the legends in the game getting into the team of the year. We've only really seen Zlatan, Company, and Bonnie get in there in the early seasons. I'll probably assume that someone like Yaya and Company have retired now. We'll get back into the Premier League. Where are we? We want the stages, don't we? So where are we? We were in 2020 last episode, and we noticed it was quite tight between Arsenal and United. So Arsenal have decided to get up there and get in their faces at the Liverpool United. So we'll have a look at the 2 seasons we haven't seen yet. Liverpool, Arsenal getting bloody that was a tight year, wasn't it? There in the top four, three teams on 96 points and one on 98, just getting it there. So that was a very tight season. Obviously, we were looking at City because they obviously lost Aguero, Zeko, Silva, and Navas due to this Legends pack, and they're still challenging the top half of the table. They're not really pushing on into the thingy. As we noticed, Everton, who's got quite a few of the legends, have been relegated. You noticed last season actually, Villa, are actually pushing up into the top four. So it's nice for me to see my favourite club there getting up there. But obviously United winning it this season. So it is really a tussle, but we can see that some of the other teams now are really pushing on and starting to get up into that top four, and hopefully we might see a bit of a change at the top. Let's see if we can see that in Scotland actually, because obviously Celtic have dominated it since Rangers have come up, and both teams have packed for legends. So it'd be quite interesting to see if Rangers have actually managed to take the title off Celtic. So we'll go to the previous season. Obviously Celtic running away with it there. So we've already seen that in the last episodes. We'll go to the next one, and again Celtic, and again Celtic. It's getting a bit boring up in Scotland, really, isn't it? With Celtic just dominating it. I was hoping Rangers would come up there and see more of a challenge for the title, but obviously not. They've not quite cut it, really. Quick look at the Champions League, obviously, before we get onto the shortlist, because that's where it's going to get really interesting now. I think getting on that shortlist and seeing these guys have moved. We've already noticed a couple of moves there. Essendon obviously at Villa and stuff. So have a quick little look at the Champions League at the past winners. So Liverpool made it to final. We've got Marseille who actually won it in the 2022 season, and Ajax getting to the semi. So the Italian clubs are really dominating, doing well in Europe. And so by the look of things, Ajax won it. They haven't won it since the first season. That's the first time they've made the semis. Obviously, we saw Florenoid in the semis as well. So again, with the winners, it's quite spread out really. It's getting it twice since the experiment started. So we'll get to the shortlist, and this is what we really want to look at, isn't it? Because we're getting there now. These guys are in their 20s. We've got Messi at Arsenal, Van Persie at West Ham, and obviously we'll see if Sultan's still kept hold of Stoke and managed to keep hold of him because he was doing really well there. So let's crack onto the shortlist. We're at the bottom of the list. As you notice here, I found out the Herrera. So there's a few players. Obviously, I haven't been able to get all of them because I keep just remembering players popping into my head occasionally in between episodes, and I keep adding on like Carrick and Herrera and Flamini, and obviously Di Maria. Obviously, Ander Herrera's looks like he's developing really nicely. I'll have a little look at how he got to West Ham, how he's been getting on there. So they paid a fair bit for him. Bilbao making a nice profit off him. Actually, Bilbao, Napoli paid 16.25 million for him. Didn't pay very much for them, and then obviously sound back for Bilbao for almost 10 million less, really. And then obviously they've remade the 16.25 back on him from West Ham, so good willing deal in there from Bilbao. Obviously he was getting in the Bilbao, so he did quite well in that second season for him. Then he played a bit part more in the first season for West Ham, but I'd imagine with those stats and now he'll get into the game, we'll start seeing him playing a bit more. So you don't see him after for me. I think he was at West Ham last time we looked. He's available on a free transfer now. Di Maria, we'll have a quick look to see if he's cracked on at City. Again, he's not really a full-time player. He's not playing every game. He's been a bit average really when he's played. Robbie Keane here, he's moved to QPR. As we noticed in previous episodes, QPR have been snapping at the young talent, and he had a really good first season for him, really. Considering he never really got in at Tottenham, he probably played a couple of cup games, backup player or something. He's one performance, three performances. It's not very good, really. He had a good look in the 16-17 season with 19 appearances. So those Arshavin's left and he's gone to Lille. Fletcher's left Tottenham for Newcastle. Made quite a considerable loss on him. Played overly great for them, I suppose. Again, Liechtenstein. This is another guy we've noticed. He's been a bit of a nomad in his career so far. We've noticed he starts in Switzerland. He obviously moved to Italy, and then France, and then back into the Premier League. Didn't really get into the Liverpool squad, but probably at QPR he's going to get in a lot there. Zlatan. So Stoke haven't been able to keep hold of old Zlatan here. As we notice, we're going into history. He's got 21 caps now for Sweden and 10 goals, so he's becoming that player we all know he can be in the game. And what a fee! What business there by Stoke, really? 37 million, and they only paid 5.75 for him. And obviously, as we know, because we've kept a track on him really since he moved to Stoke, he has been really consistent in the Premier League. He's moved to French League, he's just kept up their performances there, and he's getting the team. So he's one of the players that, got in the team at an early age, and they played him a lot, and he's developing and he's becoming that player that he generally is without the Legends pack. So that's, Vicar Kearney. So Rosicki's left United. I don't think he ever played for them really. He got signed by Benfica. Had a pretty poor season for him, and then got snapped up for almost double the value by Palmer. United again making a fairly decent profit on him, almost £10 million profit. But Benfica they're making another 10 million on him, so he's been a profitable player for people to buy and sell. Isla, he's moved from Udinese, I think, where he starts, and now he's obviously in Newcastle. He's been playing for them, playing quite well. Nothing spectacular. Here's a couple of players that we looked at in the last episode. We've been keeping an eye on Vidal because he's another player who moved to City at a young age, and he's just been consistent for him all the time, as you'd expect for him. So no real surprise with Vidal. He's definitely getting them stats that he normally has in the game. So we move at the list. So we can notice here that Mandzukic and Modric still haven't been snapped up by any big European teams. The value's going up considerably. But again, I think the rating of the Croatian league's gone up a little bit. Valencia, again, he's another player we've noticed who's potted around a wee bit. He's going to QPR, then to Ajax, he's gone back to Brazil, he's gone up to Italy. Again, quite up and down. He's sort of decreasing in his transfer value, really. So we'll move up swiftly up the list as we Rakitic. I can't really think you've gone to Athletic in our last episode. Yeah, we had. So he's gone to Athletic. He's gone to Saint Etienne. He's gone to Monaco. So he obviously did fairly. He didn't do. No, I've noticed with some of these guys, they're getting good average stats, but they're not really getting tremendous stats. But it's not surprising. So let's have a look at Lindegaard. Really, he's developing really well now. He's actually getting first team football. I'd imagine if you got him quite young at the United squad, he'd do really well there if you actually played him. I'd imagine. I've done the United one and I have used him as my backup keeper. Unfortunately, De Gea is just awesome on it, so it's hard to fit in both in. Mario Götze, who's leaving Dortmund on a free to go. Kallstrom, they seem to be snapping up some of the young talent, aren't they? I got it mistaken earlier. I think I did say Italian in an early episode, and I thought they were Turkish, but actually German team. Remember rightly, they have some decentish youngsters come through their ranks generally. So if it's coming up to some of these German guys in Germany, some of the guys from Bayer seem to have moved on, apart from Schweinsteiger. So obviously they're not getting that far squad, they've been moved on. A little close here. He was moving to Leverkusen in the last episode. And again, he's signed for them for free and he's not really played. So as we're going to see with Benzema, some of these guys might just peter out and just fade away sort of thing and not really feel that full potential that we know of them. I mean, like, Kroos a brilliant midfielder. He always has been ever since I've seen him in the game. He's always developed really well. He's always been a really good midfielder. Obviously, he looks good, but he's not getting the game time, so he could lose them physical and mental attributes. Old Van Persie, as we noticed, he'd moved to West Ham, so we'll have a look at how he's getting on in the Premier League and stuff. So he's fairly consistent with his goals. He said he had one season where he's got over 20, but he's doing all right there. He's still got time. Plenty of time to develop. Stuttgart, obviously, he was Arsenal at one point. He's moved to West Ham and he's been playing lots of games for West Ham. So West Ham probably are building quite a decent squad now, as we can imagine, because we've seen them sign quite a few start players. They start with Carrick and Johnson. Obviously building around that, and they've got a good team going forward by the look of things with Van Persie, Stuttman, Carrick in the midfield. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to West Ham in the future and stuff. Once some of these legends have started dropping off and coming out of the game. Nicholas Anelka was available on a free transfer in the last episode we noticed. And he's looking alright. It's not looking as like the Nicholas Anelka of previous games. How much they got him for free, didn't they? And he's been there quite a while. He's been getting there regularly, so we could expect him maybe he's one of the ones you might pick up later on when he gets older, sort of thing. He's 26 now, so he's not got far left in the terms of Football Manager and how we're doing the experiment, really. So Olivier Giroud, has he been getting in over? He's been playing up front, probably with Van Persie. Van Persie up front, good partnership. Loic Remy, he's now at Stoke. Obviously, they've lost Zoltan, so they've obviously started to find a replacement. It'll be a hard player to replace. He was getting them 20 goals a season, nearly every season, so it'll be a difficult guy for them to replace. He's been at Stoke 2 years, didn't play much in the first season, got a couple of goals. So he's been at Ajax, mainly in the reserves. So Kelstrom again, another one of the reset players they've snapped up. Xiaomi's a player we've noticed he's moved around a fair bit. Well, again, they've snapped up Debussy. So Villa are making the most for these reset players, I've noticed. He's played out okay for them. You've got Part X there. Barca brought him off Juventus, Part X, sorry. But he's a player who's massively decreased in his transfer value. I'll quick little look at his. So he's looking alright. He's not exactly dwindling off or anything. Not like Benzema or Anelka. So, it's my question. Did they pay for him or did they get him for a free? Well, they've got him for a free. That's not bad. And look at that for a first performance in the Premier League. Obviously, and Essien, if anyone remembers him in the Premier League, he was he's one of my favourite players in the Premier League when he was here. Obviously, very, very good signing for Villa. And then we can see why they've finished in that top four spot now. I might have a look at the Villa squad before we conclude the episode and have a look see what they've got, because obviously I've mentioned they've got legends. They've got Dwight York, Wife, Mortimer, Cowns, McGrath. They've got some good players, really good players. So I'm not surprised they're kicking on against that top four. Right, Kamsicki's still there at Lyon. He's been there quite a while now. But then again, he was at Napoli in real life. He was at Napoli for years. And obviously, he's been Mr. Consistency there. He's getting some goals. He's obviously had a little dip off of his goal scoring in the last couple of seasons. Maybe playing a little deeper or something. You never know. Luis Suarez, he's still at Bordeaux. I'm really surprised he's not been snapped up. Obviously they really are playing on the right now, because you can tell by his goal scoring. The early seasons when they're probably playing up front, he was getting up to that 20. Now they're playing on the right. But then again, he's contributing and scoring still. So I said in the last episode, I would play him up front, but you can't argue with them overall ratings, his goals and assists over the playing on that right hand side probably. Oh, got a little past it, I think. Obviously, we noticed the Emmanuel Matic is a Celtic. He's been doing really well for them, really. He's kept it up. He's kept it up. He's kept up the performances. Obviously, he's wanted. We'll have a little look who's wanted by Udinese. Obviously, might be moving on to bigger, better things. He's been at Benfica for quite a while, and obviously now he must be a regular there. I know he's still sort of a rotation-based player. He's performing well for him though, by the look of his overall ratings. Obviously, the Portuguese league's moving up, so he'll be less inclined to leave. Yeah, world rankings. So have a look at Sergio. His value's gone up, so I imagine he's been played. No, he's still not getting that first team there. So again, he's still, he's looking good. He's looking good, but he's not really getting to them stats that we know of him. We've seen him in the game and stuff, and so it's starting to get a bit more interesting, isn't it, with how they're developing and stuff. And obviously, these guys will be playing lots of football. Obviously, Higuain, he's slowly but surely been building up his performance. Bit of a poor season last year, but they got relegated, so understandably. But when he got into that Premier League, he was getting them 20 goals a year and stuff. And last season, he obviously maybe didn't have the delivery. And obviously, Rossi's still knocking around. Pirlo, he's everyone knows these days that Pirlo's Juventus is a big part of how Juventus play these days. coming to well, say he's coming to the end of the career. He's like a machine, isn't he, Perlo? He just keeps going and going and going. But they snapped it for 29 million. Obviously, he played well for him, as you can imagine. He played like a rotation, bit part player at Roma. Obviously, got some half decent ratings, but he seems like he's moved there and he's got the ratings there. And he's getting quite good. Obviously, you know, so again, it's a team that he's played for in real life. He's still at in real life. Probably end up finishing his career there, maybe. And Mario Balotelli, he's moved around. He starts at quite a small club in Italy, actually. He's not one of my favourite strikers around. I don't like his temperament in real life. I think he's a character. I loved him when he was at Man City. Sorry, he was absolutely hilarious. And during, I think it's the World Cup with his ordeal with a bib. That's one of the funniest moments in football. But he's not quite got in the team. He's been to the Premier League. Didn't do very well. So he started quite well for Turin, really. He's never been for a striker who's as prolific as Balotelli can be. He's not really scoring the goals for him, is he? Across his career, but then again, it could be down to game time. He's been there for quite a long time now, and he's been settled most of his career there. I can see why he's sort of a rotation player for Monaco. He's not. Let's have a look at his abilities. So again, he's looking really good. He probably hasn't got the physical stats that he normally has. But in the game, normally he's quite old. Here's a big one for the books. Cesc Fabregas is available on a free transfer. And like we said with the Barca guys, they probably won't get in the squad. Obviously, we've noticed above him. We'll have a little look at Messi afterwards. That Messi actually left and joined Arsenal. So we'll have a look at Fabregas. Now here again, doesn't look like a bad player, but he's not. Again, he's 25 now, and again, he's not really at his full potential. Is he? He's not quite hit it. And I'm guessing he's played a lot of games for the B team. He's done quite average for him, but he's a player. He's not really kicked on. Maybe because earlier in his career in real life, he obviously played in the Premier League when he was from a youngster, and his physical and attributes might have developed better in the Premier League sort of thing. Whereas he's been playing B team in reserve for Spain, he just doesn't seem as physical. Obviously, he's still technically and mentally quite a good player. Not as good as he normally is. We'll have a look at Messi. Messi's actually unsettled as well. He's probably not going to go. We'll have a look at see what's going on here. So Messi is actually he's getting in there. For Lionel Messi, imagine he'd become a big part of the Arsenal squad, but he's actually sort of like well, Messi's probably has troubles with injuries, but he's not really hitting that goal scoring form that we know Messi can hit. Game. Have a little look if he's played any international games. He's made 24 caps and he hasn't even scored a goal yet for Argentina. David Seville is another player we've reset, and he's looking really good, really. Obviously, because I've noticed a lot of the teams play 4-4-2, so he's probably like these players are going to have to adapt to different positions and stuff. They've snapped it for fairly cheap, really. He didn't play very well for Valencia since he got into the first team. A little average. He's not really kicked on either in Italy, by the look of things. Berbatov, another guy we've looked at in earlier episodes. We'll see how he's getting on. He had a really good goal tally, but that was in the Championship, I suppose. So see if he can carry that on into the Premiership now. Obviously, we've seen it. We went down here 21, come back to get 19, and keeping sort of decent-ish figures for goals. Not really top striker figures, but Sergio Ramos is now at Man City. So again, it's another team who's making the advantage of these reset players. Really, they've only just signed him, so don't play him. He's been playing well for Seville before moving there. Little loan spending out his early career. 20.5 million though. Good profit there from Seville. And obviously, he's a top centre back. A bit angry. PK's actually left Barcelona, as we notice here as well. But again, he's looking good. He's 25 now. I'd imagine he'd looked a bit better. Should look a bit better. He actually joined Man City, so he was signed by Man United. If a lot of people don't know this, in his really early in his career, and then he ended up going back to Barcelona, and that's really come through again and started making his real name in football. He was a bit hit and miss at United. But obviously, he's moved to Man City in the alternate reality. Played from the first season, didn't play from at all the second season. Played some games from in the third season, played quite well, and then got snapped up by Fiorentina. He did play one game last season. Yeah, he didn't even play a game for Barca, the main Barca squad, fortunately for him. But he's really, to be fair, I really rate him as a keeper. He's going to be, in the Premier League a long time, hopefully, with Chelsea in real life, because he's really good on the game. So have a little look at it. He snapped up on a free transfer, and he's played pretty good for him, really. He didn't get much in last season, but the season before, he played a fair few games. Kept a nice amount of clean sheets for a young keeper. Later, he's left Napoli. So no, sorry, he was at Lazio. I've got that wrong. Again, he weren't really getting in there. He had one season where he made 27 appearances, but again, he's someone who's not really had a good season that last season for Standard, but since then he's moved into like the bigger European leagues. He's not really performed that well. Eden Hazard, he's not moved yet. Obviously, he starts his career at Lille. That's where Chelsea brought him from. So imagine with these Belgian guys, they're getting into the first team, and obviously he's looking really good. He's looking like Eden Hazard, really, isn't he? And he's obviously now comes to the Premier League. Ronaldo's still kicking around in Portugal. He's not been snapped up by any of the really big clubs yet. Oh, look how he's getting on there. So he's started to make more and more appearances. 18 in 32, 7 assists. They're obviously playing him on the wings, a deeper position by the look of it, maybe. Um, he's doing quite well. He's doing very well. He's kicking on now in his career. He hasn't made an appearance for Portugal's first team yet. He's scored more goals than he's made caps for the under 21 team. So why he's not being snapped up and why he's not getting to that, the main senior squad for Portugal, I don't know yet. Ashley Young, he's now at Forest. Quick little peep at him. Wish they'd make a little loss on him. Didn't really play him that much. He's done okay. I suppose not really brilliant for Forest. As Oxlade-Chamberlain, as we noticed, moved to Chelsea in the last, or was moved on his way to Chelsea in the last episode. He's not really played for them that much. Here's one, guys. Wayne Rooney, available on a free transfer. Looks quite good. I like the look, definitely was. He's only 24 still. He's actually been released from Everton after having some decent seasons for him, really. Obviously, they must be in the Championship now, so he probably didn't want to sign that contract with them. He's obviously a decent player and he wants to be at a bigger club. Have a quick nosy if anyone's actually interested in signing him up. A good bit of business for Notts Forest looking at him on a free, obviously. A really good bit of business, obviously, depending on how much he wants for wages and stuff. We just don't know. Hernandez is potted backwards and forwards by the look of things, isn't he? He come over to France, didn't really get into the team much. He's gone to Brazil. He looks like he's been loaned a couple of times out there. Flamengo's brought him and then sold him again. Quite a bit of a loss, really. He played quite decent. He played quite well for 13 appearances, 8 goals. I know Torres is now at Tottenham. Uh, he's not made any caps for Spain yet. He's got brought Juventus making a quite big loss to him. Obviously, he's been a rotation player, quite well for him. So obviously, he's going to develop quite nicely. This is his second spell back in England on this alternative world. So he's getting around a bit. He looks quite good actually. He looks really good. He looks a lot better than the Fernando Torres normally looks in the last couple of games. Oscar now at Juve. Barcelona made quite a little loss on him. 53 games in the last season. That's a lot of games, really. And 10 goals and 19 assists. So as we noticed with him, he's he started picking up his performance. Obviously got snapped up by Santos, who's obviously brought him back for a higher transfer fee. He only played one game in his last season for Santos. And then obviously he's played quite a lot of games for them really. He's at Juventus, so he played 5 games last season. Again, it's going to be a hard team for someone to break into. He's finally got out of that Castile league. He doesn't look, he's obviously he's in Celtic, so he's probably not playing that much. Yeah, he's got out of Castile, signed for Sporting, played one game, didn't even get a rating, and then made a little bit of a profit on into Lazio. He's not even played for them yet. No wonder he's in so. He's I'm not look at his stats because he spent a lot of time in the Real Madrid team. Again, he's another player who's not really developed as well as he normally is in the game. But Giovanni, he did do that well for Arsenal in the Premier League, if anyone remembers him. But he's gone on to Italy and he's done really well for Roma in Italy. But he's a player who suffers from a lot of injuries. Samuel Eto'o's obviously finally moved on from Monaco and Stoke maybe replacing Zlatan with him. So it looks like it, and he's not really got the performances. He was getting some goals in there. This season, we might see him kicking on a bit, adapting to the first season, adapting to the Premier League. Again, he looks good. He looks really good. I wouldn't mind him. I'd have him in a team, maybe not a top team, but he's a player who's probably not. Doesn't seem to have the full stats that I remember Samuel Eto'o having in the game when he was in his prime. Our two Japanese guys here are obviously moving to France now. These guys are popping around a little bit. See, he got signed for he's getting at France. He's not been amazing, Honda. Have a look at Kagawa. He was in Germany last time we looked at him. So they made a nice profit on him. He's not really played. He didn't really play for Glenabachi, really, since the £10 million thingy. So these guys are going for big fees and they're not getting played at all. Some clubs are making massive losses, and obviously it's a bit of a variety, isn't it? Some guys are just generating profit for wherever they've gone. Some guys are just losing money wherever they go. Brad Jones here, he's a keeper I don't rate that much in real life, but then again, I didn't see much of him at Middlesbrough. He's never really played for Liverpool, but he's looking fairly average. They've got a free transfer, so obviously they've signed him as a backup player. Flanagan obviously he's probably holding his place down. His rating's going up. His value's going up a bit. Warnock's moved on. Tottenham. Kieran Gibbs now at Chelsea. Signing from Celtic. Looks like a free possibly. No, actually, they're signing for 9 million for Forest. That he's been loaned out quite a few seasons. That did amazingly. It's in the under 21s. I'd imagine he probably gets sold soon. Cassano making a return to English football. Obviously, in the early episode, he signed for United in the earliest parts of his career. Moved on Benitez for free. Did fairly decent. Then Newcastle actually snapped him up. I mean, we missed this episode or something. But obviously Newcastle snapped him up, and he did all right for them. Did average, and then make a little loss on him. Going to Arsenal, and again he's not played for Arsenal that much. Frank Ribery's actually moved on to Ajax, who obviously are one of the top teams in Europe at the moment with this add-on. It's signed for 7 million. Played with the reserves the first season. Haven't played in yet the first team. He was only like a backup player. He was doing okay, but it's Frank Ribery. We'll have a little look. Again, another player who probably hasn't really fulfilled his full potential. Obviously, some of these guys are having the technical attributes they do, but it's the mental ones that are sort of maybe not developing as well as they normally do, or as they are in the game normally. Diego Costa, obviously, he's at Chelsea in real life. Started since life at Atletico. He's signed on a free contract at Furanoid. Didn't get into the Athletic squad. Giuseppe Rossi's leaving, actually. I wonder where he's going. Going back to Italy. Again, they just don't seem to be getting. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Carlos Tevez is another player who's unsettled. He's unsettled every time we look at Carlos Tevez, isn't he? He signed for free. They made a bit of a profit on him. Sold him to a team back in Brazil. he's having a bit of a no-make career. He started in Argentina, gone on to Portugal, to Holland, and then back into Brazil. Possibly seen back into Europe later in his career. Philip Lahm is actually now at Feyenoord. So Feyenoord have got some good players, really. He's only just started from this is probably halfway through last season. He's getting there. I'm guessing he's just been missed consistency. Yep, had a bit of a less season. Like only made 15 appearances last season. Or been injured or something. You never know. Iniesta's managed to hold it. Barca. And he's potted backwards and forwards to Holland. By the look of it, he didn't really get in at Porto. He had a fairly decent season last season for a free transfer. He played 15 games, but scored in 10 of them. Mascherano is another bit of a nomadic player at the moment. He's making a return to River. Monaco playing quite a big fee for him, really. He hasn't played that well. He's gone back to River and he looks like he's been decent. River, we're actually paying less than what they got from him in the first place. Amon's made a move back to Brazil. Obviously, I think he was at Ajax in our last episode. Yeah, again. Didn't get into their first team at all. He's come over here in his second season. Wow, 30 goals in 43 appearances. That's what Neymar's sort of goal scoring form was like. Again, he's looking all right. I wouldn't say he's attackingly as good as he normally is. Danny Alba's actually going to Brazil. He starts at Seville, though. Don't forget, guys, in a trip to Italy. Obviously, he's been picked up on a free. He's done quite well going to Sao Paulo. So a lot of these Brazilian guys are actually going back. So Brazil are moving up the rankings. I think they're about sixth in the world rankings now. So obviously they're keeping hold of their own homegrown talent sort of thing. Keep them in the league. Once Samuel's moved to Brazil by the look of things. And obviously that Loriente's left Bilbao again. It's the second time in his career. On a free transfer this time. Doing very well actually in his last season for Granada. So guys, that concludes today's episode. And I will catch you for episode 6 when these guys are going to be getting into their late 20s now. So obviously, hopefully, we'll see some in the next Euros on soon for some of the smaller nations, players like the Modric, Zlatan, and stuff. So it could be interesting in Euros next episode. So we'll crack on and see what happens.